So, Nickie Vella De Fremeaux, not exactly a stranger to the public eye. You know, you've spent years as a lawyer, you've chaired the Board of Appeal for adoptions, you know, featured on magazines, front pages, for a porch. But then obviously, like a year ago, you know, your life changed dramatically because your husband got elected as leader of the opposition. How did you find this transition from your old life to your current one?
There was no transition, really and truly, because from day one, when Adrian had already decided before actually telling me that he was going to run for leader of the opposition, my life changed from day to night. So instead of being a public person and more a private person, people knew who I was, but it never affected my life, never affected my privacy. It was mind-boggling. It's very hard to digest, and it gets harder and harder as time goes by. In fact, when he was elected, even the children and I, it's very difficult to go out, at least for myself. Thank God the children are not so public, because although I do post pictures on Facebook, for example, when they go out, people don't recognize them. They don't sort of say, you know, look, you know, there's Nickie and Adrian's daughter or Nickie and Adrian's son. So they're still private to that extent. But in my case, the children don't even want to go to the beach because they say no, because people will see us and they'll take photos and they'll want to.
The children have already realized this then?
Well, they realized. The children were completely against it.
Against what?
Adrian running for leader of the party.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did they tell him this?
Yes. Especially my second daughter.
And what was his explanation to them then? I mean, it must be very difficult for him if you had your own children not telling you.
I think it was more difficult for them rather than for him. Because, but then I'm biased, obviously I always stand up for my children. So. But I think it was harder for the children to adapt because before we were a family which we used to do so many things together. You know, we used to go out to eat, go to swim together, go to Gozo, go abroad. When you go abroad, okay, it's still the same. But when you end up having to almost become a recluse, because I don't even enjoy it, you know, myself. I don't enjoy that fact that you are recognized wherever you go. It's, for the children, it's very, very daunting. To the extent that one of them told me, I'm going to change my surname. And it's very hurtful because, and more than that, because there are people who are working, you know, against what my husband believes in, which ultimately is what I believe in, with the difference that I remained Nickie.
Which is?
We have the same values and we have the same principles. We both think that the country needed a strong opposition. I do believe that Adrian had the ability to do it. However, I think that sadly there's too much what can I say? There's a lot of antagonism, perhaps, or maybe dislike towards Adrian. But you don't have to like a person to be in a party because a party is there not to like people. I mean, you don't necessarily vote for a candidate because you like the person, but you vote for a person because you consider him as a valid candidate who's going to represent you in Parliament. For what? To ensure democracy. I consider myself, I am a private citizen. And despite what many people think, that I am my husband's wife and sort of have to be kind of like I tell you, a prosthesis, you know, my husband's arm.
How do you feel when people, you know, consider you as that? Like even when you see people referring to you as
bothers me.
The wife of the opposition.
It bothers me immensely. It really bothers me because as a woman, I mean, I graduated quite a long time ago and there were no women's rights. I'm not a feminist at all.
Why not?
Because I think that I'm a realist. I see the way things are and I don't see everything women have to be this. For example, personally, I don't agree with quotas. I have no idea, okay, let me say, I have no idea what Adrian has to say about this. But personally, I would rather be given a post because I'm excellent in what I do rather than to fill numbers.
Mhm.
I find it very humiliating and very demeaning.
You're very vocal in your opinions. I mean, even that, the mere fact that you criticize your husband publicly for that Facebook post, which you then edited about the abandoned baby, that shows that, for me, that you're really not afraid of any of any consequences of making your voice heard. Is that correct?
I'm not afraid of making my voice heard. I am very much a person who I stick to my guns. Now, whether when I posted it, it was right or wrong, in a political perspective in Malta, I don't know.
Did you get people accusing you of undermining your husband's political leadership?
A few, and I found it very, very, very narrow-minded, very insulting, because you're his wife, and you're sort of like you're trying to undermine him, you're trying to make him look like a fool. You look like a fool, as if. I spoke. Simply saying that as a lawyer I spoke. I never contradicted him in anything else because...
Did he speak to you about it though when he
Yes, he spoke about it. It was interviewed on Newsbook, I think.
Did he speak to you about it? Like when he
No.
edited it? So he just went home and so nothing happened?
Exactly. So now when you go out, they either love you or hate you. I can't say that it is felt in my regard. It is the political side which is really, really harsh. So when you go out and you sort of, people look at you or they don't talk to you or you say hello and everyone's silent and everybody looks at you, it's terrible. It's terrible. And the kids I feel it, let alone my children. But when you realize, like I was saying, when you realize that even if you're on your own and it's coming from outsiders, when it's coming from within, and you know that you've sacrificed, and you're feeling all this pain for my children more than anything else, because, I feel the pain, but for me, my priority is my children. And you see that, we've done this to better the situation and to try and save democracy at the end of the day. Adrian could have just stayed at home and we could have just lived our happy, normal life, doing...
Do you wish you did that?
Now?
Mm-hmm. Like in hindsight?
Given what's happening within the party, I say yes. I just wish that something...
Have you ever told him to just, get out of it while he still can?
I don't know the hell he doesn't. Honestly, because when you are seeking to save democracy, when you are seeing that your children are broken, I'm not talking about that thing of the party, not making fights about it, because that was totally blown out of proportion.
In general, though, the way that
for me, that's it's completely irrelevant. It is the fact that, and in fact, my children never ever go to events, political events. I try and keep them out as much as possible. But when you see when I see how my children are suffering, and to myself, I just say, what's happening? Why? Why would you want to keep on persisting when an agent is persistent? The more challenges he has, he keeps on persisting. Whereas I, personally, would. But it is a question of character.
But this is family we're talking about.
Yes, but it's a question of character. If Adrian believes in something, he's obviously doing it because he believes it's for the better of his children. Because he believes and he wants to save his children from living in a situation where it will be worse than living in the 80s. Much worse, because if the government wins by 2/3 and has 2/3 of parliament, they could even amend the constitution and you can file lawsuits, you can do what you like. But they have the right to amend the constitution and make Malta a dictatorship.
So if he becomes prime minister, will we be?
No.
Will what?
Oh.
You're not looking forward to it?
Me? No.
To becoming the wife of the prime minister?
Look, you know what I want to be? I just want to be Nickie. But I mean, it would be an honor if he would be able to save the country from democracy. It would be a real honor, and it would have been all worth something, you know, all worth saving the country. But being in a position where even more, I have to sort of like sacrifice, because now I can opt not to go to events, you know, whereas should this happen,
You have to.
you know. Now, clearly at this stage, there is my husband, and I really do believe that he is capable. And I believe that, and I know what kind of person he is, and I know that even I know what kind of a person I am, so, but I'm very much of a private person, so you know, I don't go to events, for example, you know, I try and stay back as much as possible.
If he wins the election and becomes prime minister, will you do the charity swim like Michelle Moscow?
Swim? I'm terrified of the sea. No, I mean I go to swim only at certain places. You know, when I'm wading in, and I swim out, and I can't touch the seabed anymore. Like, and I go back. So I assure you, I will never swim, not even to where I don't reach, you know, this much, let alone.
not alone from
no, definitely not. No. I suffer from depression, and that's what I want to tell you. So when I'm very, very opinionated, people think it is related to the fact that I suffer from depression. So they say that, you know, she's doing this because she's like not quite there. And many a time, and this is what I want to speak about, which is very important to me. Mental health does not mean that you become mad. Mental health means that you have a condition, which is an illness, which has to be treated, but it doesn't make you completely cuckoo. I mean, there are people who have a condition who need to be, you know, hospitalized. But the fact that you have a depression or that you're anxious absolutely doesn't mean that everything you do is totally done because you have a depression, because you're mentally unstable. And that, I've found that since Adrian was elected, that the stigma has become even worse. Even worse.
How so?
Because I'm so opinionated, so if people don't like what I'm saying, they say, because she's mad, you know, she's not quite there.
You get this, that people just dismiss your opinions and say, because, you know, she has a depression.
Because she's not quite there, you know. She's not quite with them, miskina. You know, she's going through a bad time. And when I'm going through a bad time, I assure you, I'm in bed, I can't get out of my bed.